Clancy was a very clever rat. He lived in the walls of a cozy house in Aroundingtons. Unlike other rats, Clancy loved geometry. He would often be found studying shapes in the shadows. Clancy also loved gaming. His tiny paws were skilled at navigating controllers.
One sunny afternoon, I heard a commotion outside. Curious, I peeked out from my hole in the wall. The villagers of Aroundingtons were gathered in the square. They were whispering and pointing at something. I squinted my eyes. I couldn't believe what I saw. It was Shrek, the famous ogre, along with Princess Fiona and Donkey. They were standing near a deep trench that had suddenly appeared in the middle of the square. My heart thumped with excitement. I had heard tales of Shrek's adventures. Now the legendary ogre was right here in Aroundingtons. I knew I had to see what was going on, so I scurried out of my hole and towards the crowd.
Shrek, Fiona, and Donkey looked worried. The trench in the village square seemed bottomless. It emitted a strange glow. The villagers were too scared to go near it.
What do you think it is, Shrek?
I don't like the looks of it, Fiona. Donkey, you're the brave one. Go check it out.
Me? Brave? I'm just a donkey. I don't do trenches.
As Shrek and Donkey bickered, a small voice interrupted them. Everyone turned to look. They were surprised to see a little rat standing there. S1, excuse me.
Did this trench just appear?
Yes, it did. Do you know something about it?
I think it might lead to Two-Way Mirror Mountain.
The name Two-Way Mirror Mountain sent shivers down their spines. Legend had it that the mountain held magical mirrors. These mirrors could reflect one's deepest fears and desires.
Two-Way Mirror Mountain? Why would a trench lead there?
Clancy explained that he had overheard some villagers talking. They mentioned seeing strange lights near the old well. Then the trench appeared. Clancy, with his love for puzzles and geometry, believed the trench was a hidden passage.
Well, we can't just leave it here. We need to investigate.
And who's going to go down there? Certainly not me.
Shrek looked at Clancy.
You seem to know a lot about this little guy. Would you like to come with us?
Clancy's heart leaped. He was going on an adventure with Shrek, Fiona, and Donkey. And so the unlikely team prepared to descend into the mysterious trench. S1, I'd love to.
This place gives me the creeps. Shrek gently lowered Fiona and Donkey into the trench using a sturdy rope. Clancy clung to Fiona's shoulder, his small claws digging into her dress. The trench was dark and damp, with strange symbols glowing on the walls.
I think we're going deeper than I expected, Donkey whispered, his teeth chattering. As they descended deeper, the air grew colder. The glow from the symbols intensified, casting eerie shadows on their faces. They soon realized the trench was not a straight drop. It spiraled downwards, forming a winding tunnel.
Shrek said, his voice echoing in the confined space. Clancy, despite his fear, felt a surge of excitement. He had never been on an adventure like this before. He used his knowledge of geometry to help navigate the twisting passages. He pointed out angles and patterns to Shrek, which helped them avoid dead ends. Hours seemed to pass. The team finally reached the bottom of the trench. They found themselves in a large cavern. A giant mirror stood at the far end, reflecting an image of Two-Way Mirror Mountain. The cavern was eerily silent. The only sound was their own breathing and the dripping of water. As they cautiously approached the mirror, the ground suddenly gave way beneath them. Shrek roared, grabbing Fiona and Donkey before they could fall. Clancy, quick as a flash, leapt onto a protruding rock. He narrowly avoided plummeting into the darkness below. S2, media. Clancy narrowly escaping a trap in a cavern. Hero avoiding falling into a pit in a dark cave. A trap! Donkey exclaimed, his heart pounding. S4, that was close.
We need to be more careful. This place is full of surprises.
Look, we need to step on these plates in a specific order to deactivate the trap, narrator, Fiona warned. Clancy, using his keen eyesight, spotted a series of pressure plates hidden under a thin layer of dust.
Clancy, remembering the patterns he had studied in his geometry books, guided the team safely across the pressure plates. They avoided any more nasty surprises. Having navigated the treacherous trap, the team continued their journey toward the giant mirror. The air grew heavy with the smell of sulfur.
Do you smell that? Smells like trouble.
What are they doing? Narrator, he was right. As they rounded a bend, they came face to face with a group of goblins. The goblins were busy setting up barrels of TNT around the base of the mirror.
Fiona whispered, her hand instinctively reaching for her bow and arrows.
They're going to blow up the mirror. We have to stop them.
Clancy exclaimed, his whiskers trembling.
Leave this to me.
Shrek cracked his knuckles. Shrek charged forward with a roar, surprising the goblins. He sent them scattering with his massive fists.
Donkey Clancy, get those barrels out of here.
Shrek shouted as he wrestled a particularly nasty-looking goblin to the ground. Donkey, despite his fear, grabbed a barrel with his teeth and ran as fast as his hooves could carry him. Clancy, small but quick-witted, used his knowledge of knots to tie ropes around the remaining barrels. They dragged the heavy barrels away from the mirror with Shrek and Fiona's help. Just when they thought the danger had passed, a booming voice echoed through the cavern. A group of shadowy figures emerged from behind the giant mirror. They were heavily armed and had mean looks on their faces. S5. Media, armed group with hostile expressions, menacing armed individuals. Well, well, well. Look what we have here.
Who are those guys?
Donkey whispered, hiding behind Shrek.
You're interfering with our business, and we don't take kindly to that. Narrator, media, determined female character hissing at enemies. Fiona hissed. The leader, a burly ogre with a scar across his eye, stepped forward. S3. Media, intimidating ogre leader, stepping forward, weapon dealers. They must be behind this whole thing.
The weapon dealers surrounded Shrek, Fiona, Donkey and Clancy, their weapons glinting in the dim light. The situation looked grim.
We're not afraid of you.
Shrek roared, standing protectively in front of his friends. The weapon dealers laughed cruelly, but Clancy and the others fought back with determination. As the weapon dealers closed in, the air grew thick with tension. Clancy, Shrek, Fiona and Donkey stood their ground, hearts pounding. The cavern echoed with clashing metal and fierce roars. "Stay close!" Shrek bellowed, swinging his club mightily. Fiona lashed out with swift, precise movements. Donkey weaved through the chaos, creating distractions. But it was Clancy who truly shone. With his small size and agility, he outmaneuvered the weapon dealers. He led them into traps, causing them to stumble. His cleverness turned the tide of the battle. The leader of the weapon dealers, a burly ogre, roared in frustration. "This isn't over," he snarled, lunging at Clancy. But Clancy was ready. With a swift leap, he dodged and landed on the ogre's shoulder, biting down. The ogre howled in pain, dropping his weapon. Shrek seized the moment, delivering a blow that sent the leader crashing. The remaining weapon dealers fled in terror. Breathing heavily, the friends gathered, eyes shining with triumph. "We did it," Fiona said, her voice filled with pride. Clancy looked around, heart swelling with gratitude. They had faced insurmountable odds and emerged victorious. But Clancy had one more task. He quietly slipped away, determined to find the heart of Mars. Navigating through dark tunnels, he followed the ancient map he had found. Finally, he reached a hidden chamber where the heart of Mars glowed with an otherworldly light. With a sense of achievement, Clancy reached out and grasped the artifact, knowing it would bring peace to their land. Media sunset, group walking together, triumphant music swells. With the weapon dealers defeated, and the heart of Mars safely in Clancy's paws, the group made their way back to the village of Aroundingtons. News of their victory spread quickly, and the villagers gathered in the square to welcome their heroes. The square was adorned with lanterns and banners, the air filled with the scent of freshly baked bread and roasted meats. A band struck up a lively tune, and the villagers cheered as Clancy, Shrek, Fiona and Donkey entered. Clancy, once a timid rat, now stood tall with newfound confidence. Fiona and Shrek beamed with pride, and Donkey couldn't stop talking about their adventure. As the music played, the villagers began to dance. Shrek and Fiona led the way, their movements graceful and joyous. Donkey pranced around, his antics drawing laughter from everyone. Clancy, though small, joined in with enthusiasm, his heart alight with happiness. "Heroes of Aroundingtons," the village elder proclaimed, raising a toast. "You have brought peace and hope to our land. Let us celebrate this victory." The celebration continued long into the night. Laughter and music filled the air as the villagers and their heroes danced, united by their bravery and friendship. Clancy looked around, feeling a deep sense of belonging. He had found not just allies, but a family. As the night wore on, the fire in the square crackled warmly, and the stars above twinkled like the heart of Mars itself. Clancy knew that whatever challenges lay ahead, they would face them together, maybe even using the heart of Mars. In the village square, they danced till night, heroes united, hearts alight. Clancy, now bold, with friendships grand, in Aroundingtons forever they'll stand. Media sunset, group dancing together, triumphant music swells.